and are now just 300 meters over the sea. Lima Tower, misguided by aeroperu Flight 603's incorrect transponder, reassures them that they are at 10,000 feet.
aeroperu 603, you are now flying on course 120. We observe you to be at level 10,000. Your speed is approximately 220 and a distance from Lima of 33 miles to the northwest. The 707 will be ready in 15 minutes to fly west to help you.
The pilots fail in their attempt at a landing. The best hope now is that another aircraft can get airborne in time to guide the 757 back to the airport.
To have another aircraft come alongside and formate, or you formate on it, would have been one way of recovering from this abnormal situation. However, we must remember that the flight was at night and darkness. The pilots may or may not have had any formation flying training, but that would have been one way to resolve the problem quite well, actually.
Terrain. Too low. Terrain.
What's happening?
Too low terrain.
Now the pilots receive the most terrifying warning of all. It's called the ground proximity alarm, meaning a collision with the Earth is imminent. Still, the tower tells them they are at 10,000 feet.
300.
We have the terrain alarm and we're supposed to be at 10,000 feet. According to the monitor, you have 105.
Too low terrain.
There is no checklist for if you have these 7 or 8 warnings going off, which they did, and they couldn't shut them off. It's a very rattling experience. I could play that tape for you, and you hear those things: whoop whoop, pull up, terrain, and all of these things going off, and the stick shaker. Brrr. It's a very unnerving environment.
All the computers are going crazy here.
Shriver turns the airplane towards the sea, away from a possible collision with a mountain or skyscraper.
Too low terrain. Too low terrain.
Despite the erroneous warnings, the terrain alarm is correct.
There's a system on board the aircraft called the ground proximity warning system, and it senses a rate of descent in the airplane. The irony of the situation was they were getting warnings from that saying too low, terrain, terrain, too low. That probably, in all probability, was a true warning. But because they'd been subjected to so many warnings and ongoing false warnings, horns, bells, and whistles, that they didn't really, I don't think, react to that too seriously.
Are we going down now?
We have 370 knots. Are we descending now?
We're showing the same speed. You have 200 knots speed approximately.
Too low terrain.
Speed 200 knots. 220 ground speed, reducing speed slightly.
The pilots are stuck. 200 knots is precariously close to a stall speed.
Damn, we're gonna stall right now.
Too low terrain.
Let's go up. Let's see. Let's go up here.
2 Peruvian men grapple with a deadly situation. A computer that tells them they're going too fast, too slow, and too low, all at once.
Too low terrain. Terrain.
Shriver decides to risk a second attempt at landing.
At this speed, if we're descending with engines on idle.
Give me the altitude, please.
Yes, you are maintaining 9,700 according to the scope, sir.
9,700?
Yes, correct.
What is your indicated altitude? Do you have any visual reference?
9,700, but it is indicating too low terrain. Are you sure you have us on the radar at 50 miles?
Hey, look, the 370,
We have 370 what? Do we lower gear?
aeroperu 603, Lima?
what do we do with the gear?
Suddenly they realize the awful truth.
We're hitting water! Pull it up!
Climb aeroperu 603. If you need to, pull up.
For 20 seconds, the pilots struggle for altitude.